MAGA comes to talk, and oh man, things are just going so well. That coffee's too hot. For some reason, they like to give me steamed cream instead of just regular cold cream in the thing. Um, I want to talk about what's going on with everything, just for a few minutes, with the Trump administration. But first, let me turn the Wi-Fi on this device. Okay. There we go. I just turned the Wi-Fi on, so I apologize for that. If you have to refresh, please do. Um, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for joining. I watched the interview last night with DOGE and Elon Musk with Brett Baer, and I got to say, Brett Baer's interview of the Trump team or the Trump DOGE team and Elon Musk was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. It was Brett Baer's best interview ever. Maybe the best interview in the history of Fox. There's been a lot of times where there's high profile interviews that you're expecting to get on television, in particular Fox, and there's a lot of buildup to it. And when you get to the interview, a lot of times it can be anticlimactic. Sometimes it's because they release clips of the interview, and by the time you've seen the interview, I feel like I've seen the best parts of it already. That's part of it. And then sometimes they just don't ask questions. The best example of this was years ago on Fox. Megyn Kelly, when she was still on Fox, it was hyping this big interview with Bill Ayers. Now, if you remember, Bill Ayers was a very controversial figure. He's a domestic terrorist who blew up a government building and was responsible for the death of a federal worker who I think was it a security guard. And here he is, a big college professor, close friend of Obama. This is when Obama was president, and a lot of people believe that Bill Ayers was the ghostwriter for Obama's autobiography, and Bill Ayers and Obama and their parents and their families and Frank Marshall Davis and the Clinton family, a lot of connections there. So he was a very controversial figure at the time, but also a bit mysterious because people had heard of him because of his domestic terrorism activities, but we hadn't heard from him since Obama became president and all these connections. So Megyn Kelly had been promoting for days that she was having this one-on-one interview with Bill Ayers. And I know a lot of you that were around back then, I'm sure, tuned in. I tuned into it. She asked him nothing. Nothing. It was so disappointing. I mean, there wasn't one thing she asked him, and there were no follow-ups. It was not her best work. And I bet you, if she had an honest conversation about it, there's a story behind that she's probably never told. At least I've never heard her tell it. And I like Megyn Kelly, but that was such a disappointment. And that happens all the time. Or, as I said, they release clips of an interview, but by the time you see the interview, you've seen all the highlights. But this interview that Brett Baer did with the DOGE team and with Elon Musk the last couple of days was just phenomenal. Both nights, and I mean, Elon Musk. I mean, doesn't he make you proud? And aren't you proud of President Trump that he put together this great team led by Elon Musk? And I was talking yesterday on the stream on the morning show that when they said the DOGE team, because we didn't see any clips from the interview, I was expecting a bunch of guys that look like college kids that live on Hot Pockets and wear hoodies. And I was not expecting successful corporate leaders and software engineers that founded multi-million-dollar companies, and it was just it was amazing. And the way I described them yesterday, it was the right stuff, right? Like the right stuff. The movie, the original Mercury 7. They were so impressive, and they're not just impressive and brilliant. They're American patriots, And it's so nice to see top examples of American excellence. And when they went through with Elon, everything that they've been doing with Doge, it's phenomenal. On last night, the part two was last night, and there were two things. One was with Elon, and one was with the Doge team. One of the Doge teams, because Brett Baird asked about Medicare, and he talked about how with I can't remember if it was Medicare or Medicaid. I think it was Medicare, but he said, it was Medicare. These are done at the state level, right? Like I'm in Florida, so when I have Medicare and all that stuff, it'll be through the state of Florida. And he said there are billions upon billions of dollars. He gave an exact number, which I can't recall offhand. Maybe somebody knows in the chat, but there are multi billions of dollars a year that are spent in double payments. And what that means is someone's on Medicare, like say here in Florida. So Florida gets paid from the federal government, but a second state also gets paid for that same person. It could be Connecticut, it could be Georgia. So there are millions of Medicare and Medicaid recipients that the federal government is paying twice for. These are the kind of things they're uncovering. It's crazy. So what percentage of it is incompetence and inefficiency or just fraud? We're never going to know. And you can't waste your time getting involved in that because it goes off into all these places. They just got to find out where the problems are and eliminate it. Those other things, if it's fraud, that can come down the road because you start investigating each one of these things, it'll put a stop on everything because it'll go to the federal courts and these Obama, Clinton, and Biden judges will issue orders and stop them from doing the work. They got to just do the work and not worry about the prosecutions one by one, or nothing will get done. In fact, that's what the left would like. I think the Democrats would like them to start fraud prosecutions every time they find something because it would stop the work of DOGE. I mean, and that's just one example. I mean, they gave a lot of examples in those interviews. I mean, who can, with a straight face, be against that? And when I heard that guy from DOGE say that last night, it just blew my mind. And people know when they're getting double paid. People know this. Now the other thing that came out of the interview last night was a very impassioned response from Elon Musk on this Tesla terrorism that's going on, and he was talking about Tim Walz in particular, who's out running for president for some reason. And he was talking about how Tim Walz had put the graphic up on stage during a speech of the Tesla stock dropping. He said he is evil. He's evil, and who would do something like that? Who would take he said he's evil. Who would take pleasure in something like that? And that's exactly right. Tim Walz is a total sick, psychopathic asshole who is on the take with the CCP. We know this. And I was so impressed to hear Elon, and you could see the passion and the anger he had. He was talking about the Tesla workers at the dealerships and the customers and the Tesla owners who are being harassed. I just saw a new video this morning of a guy in a Cybertruck going down the freeway, and some liberal jerk off comes at him with a gun on the. I mean, come on. And these Tesla terrorists, they're getting busted because Teslas have cameras all over them. Akeem, I don't mind dissent, but please don't spam the chat. I'll answer your question. Taking benefits from vets, there are no veterans who are losing their benefits. Okay, there's no benefit being taken from a veteran. Just isn't happening. But I got to give him a few seconds because there's a delay between on YouTube when I say something when you see it. So Akeem, you're welcome to join the discussion, but no spamming, please. Oh yeah, I mean, and you could hear, Elon Musk was talking about the sacrifice he is making, and his companies are taking hits because he's doing this patriotic work. Yeah. You know, so I was just totally impressed by it. It just really blew me away. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. Make sure that you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're already sub, please like the video. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Elon Musk is like one of our founding fathers. The founding fathers um, were risking everything, right? Their lives, their freedom, their businesses at the time, their fortunes, and he's doing the same. Yeah, I just got a Gulf of America, or yeah, it's a T-shirt. I got a Gulf of America T-shirt in the mail yesterday. I'm going to wear on the cruise tomorrow. Now, when I'm on the cruise next week, I will be checking in on YouTube as much as I can. Internet, internet connectivity, of course, will be the decider of how much I live stream. But I will be in touch. So make sure you got the notifications clicked. I will be streaming from the cruise as much as I can. And we leave tomorrow afternoon. So I'm still here. And today I've got a very busy, busy day. I am 95% packed. I have to run to the store today and buy a couple of things, an SD card, and for my camera and some other things. But what this harassment of the Tesla owners, I mean, these, come on, and what's crazy about the left, they feel totally justified in being violent. They feel totally justified in their violent actions. They feel it's crazy. And that's one of the reasons it's so dangerous to have Democrats run the country. These lunatics that are doing all these evil things to Tesla dealerships and Tesla owners, those are the people that were running the country 3 months ago. Right? I mean, think about that. These angry, psychopathic sociopaths were running our country. Right? What the hell? They're sick tyrants. Sick tyrants. Now, those of you that are going on the cruise, I look forward to seeing you guys. Gonna have a great time. Really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. And we have a great time. This is our 6th MAGA cruise. Well, January 6th was nonviolent from the MAGA people. We know for a fact that it was a peaceful demonstration in front of the Capitol, which happens every day, and the Capitol Police moved the gates and let them in. And, then there were a lot of Antifa, a lot of liberal Democrat activists like this lunatic, people like this lunatic that got arrested in Vegas for the firebombing of the Tesla dealership. A lot of those type of lunatics were embedded with MAGA gear on, and I've had a couple of experiences I've talked about when I was at up by Mar-a-Lago, and there were fake MAGA people in MAGA gear, trying to egg people on, and they get run off. Northern Ireland, welcome. Yeah, the second half was last night on Bret Baier with Elon and DOGE. I'm sure the whole thing is available on the Fox News site or their YouTube channel. The top 10%, so many people are in the top 10%, you have no idea, But all of this government waste and corruption that's being uncovered by DOGE, it's worse than we thought. And it's so ingrained in the permanent Washington class that they don't even know what they're doing is corrupt. It'd be very interesting to know how Stacey Abrams is dealing with this, because DOGE uncovered the $2 billion that was just being given to Stacey Abrams and her fake NGO. And her her personal reaction to that money being stopped and her being called out would tell us a lot, right? Is Stacey Abrams like pissed off beyond imagination because DOGE found out about Stacey Abrams' $2 billion and stopped it from being deposited? Or is she nervous and scared that she was involved in some very, very illegal financial scam and she got caught? And the reason being important to know what her emotion, a normal person like you or me, we'd be terrified. Oh my goodness, they got you, they got me, right? But these permanent Washington class people, they're not nervous. They don't know another way. This is how they live. So my guess would be Stacey Abrams is just angry beyond imagination. And how dare, she probably was watching the interview with Elon and Doge. How dare he take Stacey Abrams' money is what she's saying in her living room, as opposed to, oh man, I wonder if the door's going to get busted in. I'm going to get arrested for this financial crime, this embezzlement of $2 billion that I was involved in. Billion with a B. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's you guys understand what I mean? Because I think that the permanent Washington class, for the most part, are criminally insane. And what I mean by criminally insane, they don't understand that their crimes are actually crimes. They think that's just business. Yeah, Alina Habba would be a great federal judge. I wonder if Alina Habba becomes a federal judge, if she would get a special robe. She's very, very big into fashion. If she'd get a special robe cut that would, that was more feminine and sexy. What do you think Alina Habba would do as a federal judge? Or would she put on the regular robe? She doesn't seem like a woman that likes to wear baggy clothes that cover up everything. I would not mess with Alina Habba. She'd kick your ass. But yeah, that $2 billion. I love how Elon's always calling out Stacey Abrams by name. I love that. That's the best by far. She's not a federal judge. She's United States Attorney in New Jersey. But she could end up being a federal judge. You never know. If she does something really good as the USA, she could be a federal judge. Could you imagine Alina Habba being a federal judge? Democrats are, you can see the rank and file people are really mentally ill. They're so angry, angry. But that's how Democrats always have been, right? Democrats have always been angry. They're control freaks, they're tyrants, and they're evil. I mean, Democrats used to own black people. Democrats put Americans of Japanese descent in internment camps in the Second World War. So, Democrats have always been evil people. That's it. I mean. Oh man, all the women are. And did you see who the new drug czar is? Did you see who Trump made the drug czar? This was crazy. Does anybody know? I know, I hate spell check too. Spell check, I'll type in something and spell check will correct it into a misspelling or a word I didn't mean to type all the time. Sarah Carter. Trump made Sarah Carter the drug czar. And Sarah Carter doesn't play either. She's another badass woman. You would not want to. Could you imagine if you had Sarah Carter and Alina Habba on your ass? Oh my gosh. You'd be done. Done, done, done. Yeah, I haven't seen her in a while either, Sarah Carter. I was surprised to see her named as the drug czar. Well, these judges are criminal. I'm gonna on my next podcast episode, I'm gonna go through this. This judge is like a Judge Mershon judge. He's got a daughter who's involved in the business end of the Democrats while he's a judge. Linda Carter is one of the biggest Trump haters I've ever heard. I heard her. I could not believe this. I heard, because I grew up with, yeah, everybody loves Linda Carter, right? The one, she's not the original Wonder Woman. Does anyone remember who the original Wonder Woman was? It wasn't her, but she's been around forever. And I heard her on an interview plug in something with Conan O'Brien on the Conan O'Brien podcast. And she is, first off, you wouldn't even recognize her voice. I mean, she sounds like a 200-year-old lady, but she is one of the biggest Trump haters I've ever heard. And I mean, my goodness, I don't understand that at all. I mean, her anger towards President Trump is like the worst. And she's passionate about it too. I'm very interested though in how this White House meeting with Bill Maher and President Trump is going to affect Bill Maher. So Bill Maher is having dinner at the White House with the president. Kid Rock set it up. And, this is the thing. This is the thing. President Trump's an incredibly nice guy and very charming. In fact, in the interview with Brett Baer, one of the things that Elon Musk said about President Trump, he said he's never seen him not be polite, not be a gentleman, be rude, be inappropriate, nothing. I mean, he's a great guy. So, he's got all these ideas of what Trump is like, Bill Maher. So when he sits down and has dinner with him and spends an evening with him and he sees, "Oh, this guy's a great guy. I love this guy. What's he going to do? How's he going to react? How will it affect Bill Maher when he meets the man and has dinner with the man that he's been trashing for a decade and he finds out that he's a great guy?" He's already accepting it because Bill Maher said yesterday on his podcast that if his parents were alive, they would support and vote for Trump. But this could have a big impact. I would love him, Bill Maher, to come out and be red pilled. I really would. That would be the ultimate, wouldn't it? I think Bill Maher's already been red pilled and he's afraid to come out of the closet. Now, Bill Maher is a hardcore atheist. He even made a movie about it, which is, I don't like. I don't associate with atheists. Atheism is evil, but he's got that, and he's got this religious hatred of the Republican Party. Jon Stewart, do you remember when Jon Stewart was on with Tucker Carlson on CNN? He was so nasty to Tucker. He got Tucker to stop wearing the bow tie. He was so nasty, making fun of the bow tie. But there's no way Bill Maher is going to come out of a dinner at the White House with President Trump, which I think will be a semi-private event. I don't think there'll be many people there, and not loving the guy. There's just no way. Oh, Jack, you're quoting The Usual Suspects, Kaiser Soze? Jon Stewart, I don't know. I used to like him back in the MTV days, but he's another self-important liberal jerk off. Bill Maher is so conservative. He doesn't realize how conservative he is. If you listen to him, mainly on that random show he does, not the HBO show. He's very conservative. He told a story once a year or so ago about how he was at some dinner party in LA and like everybody's kid was trans, and he's like, "How is that even possible statistically? It's no way. It's just not possible." They're pushing them into that. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. You'll love my content, I promise. Jon Stewart is the best at what? I don't know. I've not watched his show on Comedy Central since he's been back. I saw his Apple TV show. It was an embarrassment. Well, welcome, Jack. Bill Maher desperately wants to come out as a Republican, as a conservative. I think if he did it, I think he would do it like back in the days when it wasn't so hip to be out of the closet gay. Sometimes people would present themselves as bisexual, and they were really like Elton John. I remember it was Elton John and Boy George back in the '80s started talking about being bisexual. Come on, yeah, right. And Freddie Mercury too, bisexual. Yeah, give me a break. But a lot they weren't comfortable coming out yet, so they came like a little bit out of like part of the way out of the closet. And Bill Maher, if he would never say he was MAGA, probably not a he would probably say if he did get red pilled, okay, what he would probably say at first is he is an independent or a libertarian. That's what I would think he would say. Would be my guess. He would come partially out of the closet, like the equivalent of being bisexual in politics, by MAGA. He's libertarian or independent. That's usually what they do when they're afraid to come fully out as a Republican. Hmm. That's right. Yeah. Like Tulsi Gabbard. That's exactly right, Mike. Yes. Even Tulsi Gabbard, as tough as she is, she's not a Republican, right? Oh, here's one of my cats. Coca-Cola. You want to come on up? Come on, Coca-Cola. Come on. Coca-Cola is the one that he knocked down one of my lights when I was live streaming on the radio yesterday. Coca-Cola, come here. Come here. He's camera shy. Come on, buddy. The kittens are Coca-Cola and Pepsi, although they're going to be a year old next month. Pepsi-Cola and Coca-Cola are their names. And their other cat is Luna. Coca-Cola. No. Yeah, they're good names. I know. Well, I wanted to name a pet Pepsi for years, and when my daughter was home, she got to name all our pets. So I got the idea. I love Pepsi more than Coke, but I drink both. But Mark Levin years ago wrote a book about one of his dogs named Pepsi. He was promoting that book for a long time, Mark Levin, and I was like, Pepsi. That's such a great name for a pet, and I've wanted to name a pet Pepsi for the longest time. And my wife Kathy wanted to get a kitten because our dog had died. She was like 17, and we didn't want to get another dog. And our cat Luna was lonely. We could tell Luna was lonely. She wanted to get a kitten, and then my brother-in-law called, and it was so weird because I was looking for a kitten, and I didn't get one that day. I was looking around, and I was having a hard time finding a kitten. And my brother-in-law called my wife, and one of his neighbors found these two kittens that they saw someone drop under a bush on the side of the road, and they went and rescued them. And they were a month old. And he called. He says, "Do you want them?" And I said, "Yeah." I went and got them immediately. And we had to. They were so little. We had to feed them. We had to get kitten formula and feed them with bottles. I went to PetSmart and got little like baby bottles for kittens and puppies, and we got them kitten formula, and we had to feed them with a bottle for a while. And they were about the size of a hamster. And our a dog cat Luna didn't, or a cat Luna didn't know exactly what they were. They were so little, she thought they were mice. They were so little. And so we were originally going to name one Pepsi and the other one Cola. I didn't really like that, Cola. So we decided to name them Pepsi Cola and Coca-Cola. I know there'll be a year next month. And our other cat, Luna, will be 2 next month. So, yeah, they're great. No more dogs for us. We're done with dogs. We'll be cat people. They're much easier than dogs. Yeah, it is cute names. I love them, and they're all rescue, and they're great. They are awesome, and they love each other because our older cat Luna adopted them, and she's almost from the get go, and she takes care of them just like their mother. You know, she loves them. She hugs them and grooms them, and she disciplines them too. Sometimes it's amazing how she's taking them on because it could have gone the other way. Could have gone the other way. At first, she wasn't. I am allergic to cats, and I don't take any allergy medications because all the allergy medications make me drowsy. And since I do a show so early in the morning, I can't be drowsy. So I'm gonna. I gotta say, there is no one who could watch that Doge interview and Elon Musk interview by Brett Baer and watch that full interview. I'm sure Fox has it available on their YouTube channel or uh, on their website. So look it up on the Fox News YouTube channel and watch the whole thing. Don't watch the clips that are spoon fed to you on social media. If you noticed, I haven't played too many of the clips. I don't know if I played any clips from that interview. On my next podcast, I am going to play the clip of Elon Musk talking about Tim Walz because I want, but I haven't played the clips, and the reason I didn't play the clips yesterday is because I think people need to hear the whole thing in context. You know, so you can see what brilliant American patriots the Doge team are. All of them are rich as hell. They don't need. One guy said he was running 5 businesses in Texas that he walked away from to do this, and put up with this harassment. These guys are being tarred and feathered by the media, by the Democrats. They don't need this, but they're doing it because they love this country. Oh yeah, yeah. How could you not be proud of them? hmm I don't know what we're fooled by. I mean, the Democrats are just mindless, angry haters. If Brett Baer and Fox continue with that kind of coverage, they'll get their reputation back. You know, that's the kind of reporting that they should be doing. Fox became number one because it was during the 2000 recount in Florida when they became number one. And they were on for 6 years and they weren't even talked about in the news. And they became number one in cable news because everyone else was so mainstream and liberal. And Fox was the only ones that were actually, remember, they used to have a tagline that they dropped when Shepard Smith was there: "We report and you decide." And they dropped that: "We report and you decide." And they dropped that, and they bragged about it when they dropped it, which was insane. The 25% tariff that Trump's talking about, what Trump is talking about doing with cars is so brilliant. Okay, 25% tariff on the imported vehicles, and on American made cars, he's going to pass a law through Congress and sign it, of course, that on American made cars, you can deduct from your taxes the insurance on your, or the interest rate on your auto loan on cars made in the United States. I was talking about this on my podcast yesterday. By the way, my podcast, The Brian Craig Show podcast, is on all podcast platforms, including YouTube Music, if you're a YouTube watcher, including Audible and Spotify and Apple Podcast. I'm on all podcast platforms. And it's a different show than I'm doing here or do in the mornings, okay? The Brian Craig Show podcast. But so Trump said yesterday they're going to pass a bill and he's going to sign it into law that if you purchase a car that's made in the USA, you can deduct the interest on your auto loan from your taxes. This is amazing for many reasons. One, that's just not American manufacturers like Ford, okay? Um, that's on cars that are made in the USA. Toyota makes cars in the USA, right? Lexus and Toyota, they have plants in Mississippi that make Toyotas and Lexus. So with the tariff, between that and the tariffs, these foreign automakers, BMW, Jaguar, Nissan, Hyundai, Kia and Hyundai, the same company. But you know what I mean? All these they're going to come here and make their cars, no tariff. And people are going to want to buy cars that are made in the United States so they can deduct the auto interest off their taxes. And, you know, the tax cuts that President Trump talks about, this one, you know, benefits people from a group that don't normally get tax cuts. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, and yet now you can deduct the interest on your auto loan on cars that are made in the United States. That, you know, and between the import tariffs on foreign cars, that's going to be such a boom for the auto industry at all levels. You're going to see foreign manufacturers like BMW and others move to the United States. Companies like Toyota that are already here are going to move more production here. These manufacturing plants in Canada are going to come back to America. The ones in Mexico are going to come back to America, and people are going to want to go out and buy new cars. You know, and a lot of those people don't get to deduct that much off, if anything, off of their income taxes. Like if you're a homeowner, as an example, you can deduct from your taxes the interest on your home loan, on your mortgage. Okay. And that's no tax on tips. That whole group of people, they don't have deductions other than maybe a child tax deduction or something, you know. And people are slaves to the government with the overtaxation, and it's going to be such a boom, not just for the auto manufacturers, but car salesmen, people that own car dealerships. Their business is going to go through the roof, you know. And there's a lot of people that would like to buy a car, but they don't have great credit, so they can get a loan, but they'll have to get a subprime loan, which means a higher interest rate, and they'll say, I'll still take it because I can deduct that off of my taxes. So why not? And they'll do it. I mean, that is so brilliant. You know who thinks like that? A successful businessman. That's who thinks like that, right? I mean, that is just amazing thinking, you know? Everything Trump touches turns to gold. Roy, $5 super sticker. Thanks so much, Roy. Greatly appreciate it. Please thank Roy, everyone. I appreciate that. I mean, isn't that amazing? I mean, President Trump doesn't finance his cars. He pays cash, right? Like he bought that Tesla for cash. He wrote a check. And even when he made this announcement, he made a reference that he pays cash for cars. But you know, in the future, rich people that would normally pay cash for a car would probably finance it for that deduction. You know, like I give an example. Like I bought my my MAGA scooter, my Vespa. When I bought that Vespa, I got about 2 years ago. I was going to pay cash for it, and then they told me 0% interest if I financed it. 0% interest, and I said, "Whoa, jeez." So I financed it because it was 0% interest, right? Well, if you can think about it, if you can deduct the interest on your auto loan from your taxes, that's 0% interest, right? The American auto industry is going to be like the 50s again, so far as an economic boom in this country. I can't wait for them to push through the tax bills through Congress. Yeah. No, this is made in America. Made in the USA, right there. Since you asked. Made in USA. Yeah, so that was just, and remember, it's made in America, so it can be a Nissan that's made in America. And in between that and all of these cuts in the government, there's such a financial boom is coming to America. Well, hello, Kim. That's why it was such a smart move to keep Elise Stefanik in the House. These are such important tax bills, and we need to get them through. The Democrats are going to be fighting the first tax cuts that low-income Americans have ever gotten, right? With the no tax on tips to this, because when there's tax cuts in the past, they change the income tax brackets, right? Lower income people don't pay income tax. Most people don't pay income tax. They pay payroll tax. Payroll tax and income tax is different. For you liberals, what that means is, your Social Security and Medicare deductions, things like that. That is payroll tax, not income tax. So the lower income people never get tax cuts because they don't pay income tax. Only people that pay income tax get the tax cuts. So now every once in a while they'll increase the child tax credit or something, but there's nothing like this. And this is the largest, what President Trump is proposing with all of his tax cuts: no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deducting the interest on American made cars from your taxes. This is the largest tax cut that low income workers have ever received in the United States. The lowest. I mean, the biggest. Low income workers have never gotten a tax cut like this before. It's the largest tax cut for low income workers in history. And that's amazing. I have been. This is all about tariffs. Well, Paul Brady, I'm sorry to tell you that England has fallen. You've been conquered. You're part of the caliphate now, and I don't see any way for England to get out of it. Oh, cars. Some people are saying the car prices will go up. No, they won't, because right now car dealers, since the shutdowns and lockdowns, have been hurting. Um, you go to car dealers now, and I watch a lot of YouTubers that are in the auto industry, and they go through how long cars are on the lot. And car dealerships are getting killed. The cars are on the lot forever, and most dealers don't own the cars on their lot. They're leasing the cars from the manufacturers. They have a monthly payment that they got to make on each vehicle, and local dealerships are getting destroyed for the last 4 or 5 years in this country. Um, there'll be so much competition for people to come and buy the cars from those dealerships. So much competition. you know, it'll be amazing. They're going to want to, every auto company, every auto manufacturer in the world, to be a major player, you have to have a presence in the United States. And if you're not making your cars in the United States, when people can deduct their the interest on their auto loan from their taxes, you're not going to sell cars, except to uber rich people that that don't care about the deduction or pay cash. You're just not. It's going to be the biggest boom to the auto industry we've seen since the 50s. It really is. hmm Oh, yeah. On my next podcast, I'm going to play the clip of him talking about Tim Walz when he called him evil. It was he was so right about Tim Walz. A lot of Toyotas are made in the United States. Yeah. hmm Not all of them, but a lot of them. But more will be. No, they have not introduced the tax bill yet. That is coming. And this is going to be a part of it. The auto interest deduction. Hmm. I know. I was going to buy a truck a few months ago, and I couldn't believe the price is over $100,000 for a Ford pickup. I couldn't believe it. I wanted to get a. I went to look at the F-150s, and I looked at a few pickups, and I'm like, no way. I mean, they're just it's like buying a house. Some of these cars, they're very overpriced. But with what Trump is doing, even higher priced cars will be more affordable. But I wouldn't buy a vehicle at that rate. No, no way. No way. I wanted to get a pickup because I want to be able to put my MAGA scooter in the bed and take it out of town and stuff. But price is too high. Not for that kind of money. I saw, the cheapest one I saw was like 80, 85. I'm like, that's nuts. And that's for like a base model. There's no way I could justify that. Exactly. How many bedrooms and bathrooms do those pickups have? That's nuts. I know. Hmm. Yeah. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. You know, those of you that saw the Doge Elon Musk interview by Brett Baer, I mean, in a word, how would you describe it? It was perfect. I mean, I was just so proud of that Doge team and Elon and the president. I don't know where I'm contradicting myself, Samuel Lopez. Oh, could you imagine if Trump was president for life, how much we could get done? First bud, that's right. That's right, the first bud. Not the ones I was looking at. Mm-mm. Yeah, and I don't know how that happened. Brett Baer did a good job. My cat is snoring now. Coca-Cola is snoring. Oh, it was a great interview, Howling Wolf. It was the best. You know, what I, th- you know, what President Trump's been doing with these deportations, that's another brilliant thing. These students like this Korean student, there's another student they're looking for now. It started with that Mahmoud character. We have all these foreign nationals that are in this country on these student visas and permanent resident visas, and they got an anchor spouse sometimes, And what they're over here doing is to cause dissent and revolution in this country, and that just can't be allowed. You just can't get a visa to a country and then uh, s- uh, try to start a revolution, which is what they're doing. And the deportations of these visa holders that are causing dissent with these protests is absolutely amazing. This should have happened decades ago. President Trump's gotten a lot of balls. And, a lot of what President Trump is doing that's giving him and you can tell he doesn't give an F what the media or the left think, right? And that's because they shot him in Butler. They shot him in Butler, and then they try to do it again at the golf course. And he's like, you know what? I don't care what any of these people. I'm going to do what I got to do. Screw them, right? And you can tell he just does it. He doesn't care what they say, how they oppose him. He just goes and does it. Hmm. And he's doing a great job at it too, isn't he? Well, if you want to hear me talk about the tariffs, Go to the beginning of the stream. I went through all of that. Just rewind the stream to the beginning. And you'll hear all that tariff talk. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. He just doesn't care. He's doing what he wants to do. And he's doing what we elected him to do. Now, if he brought Peaches back, I'd be even more excited. I miss Peaches. Any of you guys ever shop at Peaches, the record store? Peaches always had a smell to it. Anybody remember what Peaches smelled like? Every time you walked into a Peaches, you could be blindfolded. You knew you were in a Peaches. What did it smell like? If anybody remembers. I wonder. I know what it smelled like. What did Peaches smell like? See if anybody can guess. Moldy? Nope. That's not it. Weed? No, not weed. Not wood. Not the wood crates. It smelled like incense. Incense, because they sold incense. And if you walked into a Peaches, you got this immediately as you walked in, this strong wall of incense smells. Not incest, incense. I don't even know if incense are a thing anymore. Do people burn incense? Spencer's, yep. Yep, see, Jeff remembers incense. Yeah, you forgot. That's exactly right. That's right. You know, one of the things I've been talking about the last couple days is Jasmine Crockett with this ghetto routine. That's an act. You guys you've seen the interviews with her. She talks like a normal person, like me, right? And she's doing this whole ghetto act. It's part of the DNC's attempt to bring blacks back to the Democrat Party. It's so racist what she is doing and what the Democrats are doing with her. But she's not some rogue congresswoman who's just out there acting stupid and saying stupid things. This is a very well orchestrated and planned strategy. This Jasmine Crockett Ghetto Act of the DNC. It's a joke. Yeah. Yeah, I was watching an interview with who's that actor? He's in that new movie about the movie studio on Apple TV, so he's on a lot of interviews called The Studio. Is it Seth Rogen? He does all these interviews. All he talks about is being high all the time. I mean, Jasmine Crockett, yeah, she is. She's there. Listen, look who we have. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene. We have Elise Stefanik. They have Jasmine Crockett and AOC. Right? I'd rather have Elise Stefanik and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, you see, Joe Rogan, he won't go to Canada. He said he'd rather go to Russia than Canada. There was an event they wanted him to go to in Canada. He wouldn't go. He says, I don't go to Canada anymore. That's something. I thought that was pretty sharp of him. Lauren Boebert, we've got Lauren Boebert. That's right. Luna, we've got Luna. And look who they got. A bunch of weirdos that are caricatures. Mm-hmm. Nancy Mace, that's exactly right. Although Nancy Mace What she tried to pull with Trump at the State of the Union was insane, and Trump caught her. Elizabeth Warren, yeah, they got Elizabeth Warren. hmm Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene with that reporter from England was beautiful. We don't care about your country. We don't care. Oh my goodness, that was the best. That was the best. She's awesome, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You gotta love her. She's great. Yeah, I've met her. She's cool. I interviewed her. If you missed my Marjorie Taylor Greene interview, you got to find it. It was I told her right out the box, right at the beginning of the interview, this is going to be a softball interview. I love you. I told her right at the beginning. So I told her right at the beginning of the interview. You know, I wanted her to know. And right before that interview, when I interviewed Marjorie Taylor Greene, um, uh, right before the interview, about 20 or 30 minutes from the interview, I got a text message from somebody that told me who was going to be listening to that interview, and you can guess who I'm talking about. And I was really nervous. I wish they would not have texted me because I was so nervous because of who was listening. There was one man in particular, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I almost had a panic attack before the interview, but it went really well. That's right. MAGA. That's right. It's MAGA America. Oh, by the way, that's the copy of The Art of the Deal. A listener sent me that. And when I flew to LA to see my daughter in January, I took that, I read it again. And I was telling people then, if you have not read The Art of the Deal, or you haven't read it in years, read it again. Because I read The Art of the Deal when President Trump ran the first time, and it's very good. But when I read it again, okay, after 10 years, because now we know Trump. Then we knew him because he was famous and all. But reading it again after everything that happened, it's even better to read it again now, because you'll read it with a different context. All the media people that hate Trump and the Democrats, if they read The Art of the Deal, they would understand everything that he does. He tells you how he operates right in that book. It's the handbook to Trump. When I got the book, I got a highlighter and I was going to highlight it, but then I realized I'll just be highlighting everything. So if I'm highlighting everything, am I really even highlighting it? So I didn't highlight it. Oh man. I do stand with Israel, proudly so. Yes, I do. Absolutely. That was a great call I got yesterday from the guy about Israel. I don't know if you heard that call. Maybe I'll pull that call off yesterday's show and play it on my podcast. That was a great call. He was a MAGA guy, and he was asking me, why is it you can? He asked a very good question, and it was very detailed. But he says, why is it you can be against the American policy but not anti-American, but if you're against Israel's government policy, you're anti-Semitic? And I had a great conversation with that guy, and there's no doubt at the end that he's like, oh, well, he's supporting it. He couldn't say it, but he was supporting Israel by the end of that call. That was a good call. Maybe I'll pull that off the radio show yesterday and play it on the podcast. I don't do that very often. I've only done it once, maybe twice over the years. I seem like an ideologue. I don't know what you mean by that. Yes, great MAGA morning. Now, I will be live streaming as much as I can here on YouTube from the cruise, okay? And I'll be doing that during the week so far as the internet permits. We have Elon's Starlink internet on our cruise ship, Celebrity, and it's very, very good. And I did live stream a little bit last time, but I'm going to live stream more this time, the internet connectivity permitting. The internet's very good. But sometimes it's hard to live stream depending on how many people are pulling off the internet at a particular time. But I will be live streaming as much as I can on the cruise, guys. So make sure you got the notification clicked. And if you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. You will love my content, I promise you. Yeah, and the next cruise, you guys that are not on this cruise, I hope you're on the next one. The next one, which when I get back, I'll start telling you the details of it. We're going to a place I've never been and I've wanted to go to, and it is priced so good. We got such a great price on this next cruise that I can't talk about it now because the people that go on this cruise, they get the first pick of everything. So we'll announce it to them on the cruise. But if you have not gone on one of our cruises or you haven't been on one in a while, the next one is going to be incredible, and it's priced very, very good. Very, very good. Very good price. And I hope you join us because it's a great time. I started doing these cruises because I needed a vacation. And people think I'm joking about this. It's not. No, when we took our first week-long cruise, it was the first time I had a week off in 20 years. So now we do it every year. And I call it our cruise family because every year we have a bigger group, and some of my best friends are people that I've met on our cruise. And I got all my MAGA gear packed, and we take over the cruise ships because everyone they call us the Trump group or the MAGA group when they see us because we got our MAGA gear, and I've made lifelong friends on the cruises with people that go on the cruise, and they're good people. And every cruise, the group's bigger, so our cruise family grows and grows, and it's great guys. And we have a shore excursion in every port. So we have 3 shore excursions that are private. We do those together, and we have dinner together. We go to the shows together. We hang out together. We have events throughout the week. It's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun. And there's good people. You don't get these weirdos like Jay from Jersey and those kind of people. They don't go. They're not in our group. And it is a private group, so we can exclude people from the group if we want. So I do have a list of people that are not welcome in our group that our travel agent Ian has. But when I'm going to make a YouTube video of the MAGA cruise, and I'll premiere it on YouTube when we're back. And you'll want to join the next one. You'll want to join the next one. And the price is incredible. Yeah. You'll have a great time. You'll love it. You'll love it. And I really do. And those of you that have been on the cruises, you know what I'm talking about. And I really have some of my best friends I've met through our group on the cruise over the years. Yeah, so it's always fun. We always have a great time. Well, listen, guys, I got a lot to do because it's my last day before I leave, because I leave tomorrow. But I'll be back later. Don't worry. If you're new, again, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. And if you're already subbed, please like and share the video, all right?